Ever wondered what really happens to your waste after you toss it away? As I speak, worldwide, there is 10,000 plastic bottles which is being used and disposed. 10 lakhs. 20 lakhs plastic bags being used and disposed. And out of these 20 lakhs, shockingly only 1% is going to get recycled. In the US itself, 70 lakh plastic straws are being used and thrown in the dustbins. Close to a lakh plastic cups are being thrown every minute as I speak. Why these numbers are alarming? Because plastic, one piece of plastic takes about hundreds of years to decompose completely. The first plastic which was generated since the very beginning is still there on the planet, and it's going to remain for many, many hundreds of years to come. You know, the moment we all wake up, we start generating waste as humans. Like right from our plastic toothbrushes to us squeezing plastic toothpaste from our plastic tubes, or from use and throw packaging from the food joints. And the list is completely endless. Whenever we hear these numbers, it's very easy to feel overwhelmed, thinking the problem is so immense and our individual actions will not make any difference. Whenever we come across such big of a problem, the question is something should happen at the macro level. Our governments should be the ones who should take the initial steps, and that is when we follow. But that's not the case. Optimism persists, and that is why we all are here having this discussion, having a talk on sustainability and innovation. You are seeing more businesses are embracing sustainability, and we have seen a few examples since the morning. You are seeing an increase in ecopreneurs and social entrepreneurs, and I myself am one. At Rooted, we are upcycling the textile waste to make cloth decors, to make during independence, we did a campaign wherein we propagated the idea of not using plastic flags, plastic buntings, rather switch to cloth decor and to cloth tricolor flags. And we were really successful in that. At Rooted, we instead of plastic, we have switched to using glass jars. That does create a logistic problem, but that is completely worth it, because every piece of plastic is every piece of glass is 100% recyclable. So these are some conscious efforts that as a business one needs to take, and government can't really work into this space. So it's basically the communication with both, which is required at the both end, us and the large organizations. Our actions as individuals really make a difference. Coming to our first question, which I started my talk with, what really happens to the waste after we toss it away? Ever wondered, has any one of you ever here tried to just see what really happens after you throw that sandwich ka wrapper, toffee ka wrapper in the dustbin? Where does it ultimately ends up to? It's either going to the landfills, as we popularly know, or going in the drains or in the oceans. These landfills, these dirty rivers, drains might be out of our sight and out of our mind, but they for sure are reaching us. They have an immense ill effects on our health. Plastic, when reaches to landfill or oceans, doesn't become harmless. Rather, it becomes more harmful, because after coming in contact with sun and other particles over there, other products over there, it breaks down into microplastic, which leaches to our soil, oceans, water bodies, and contaminate our natural resources. Even animals, birds, fishes consume these microplastic, thinking is as their food, and ultimately that's where it enters our food chain, because us as humans also consume those animals. We have been consuming. And ultimately, our crop are being grown in that soil which is containing microplastic. We are feeding our crop with the water which has microplastic. That is why we are seeing these news nowadays wherein plastic has been found in human placenta, breast milk, and human blood. We are not eating plastic directly, but it is coming back to us in some way or the other. So whenever we say we have thrown the garbage away, we have thrown the waste away, we have cleaned our individual homes, but there is nothing as away, because it's whole one planet, and it is somewhere on the planet which is again our another home, our bigger home. These are some of the pictures of landfills. These are the consequences of our high consumption of products, of our fast fashion, of how our industries and us function. It's very important that we become aware of such areas which exist around us, maybe outside our cities, but we are not really, in touch. Again, as these pictures, as these areas might be out of our sight, but their ill effects do reaches us. These landfills also emit a lot of greenhouse gases, which is adding to a global warming at the overall level, and is increasing and is adding to the climate crisis overall. Do you know how much global waste we are creating nowadays? It is estimated that one human creates close to 700 grams of waste per day. Now, this number can really vary depending upon the area in which the person resides, from 100 grams to 4.5 kilograms. It is estimated that our global waste is going to rise twice the number of our population in the same tenure of years by 2050. And this graph is by the world organizations who are working towards our waste. And these numbers are alarming. But why exactly this problem of waste is on rise? Why exactly we are seeing so much of waste generation? Our population growth is not like, yes, it's increasing, but our waste is increasing in the double rate. That's majorly because of our mentality of buy, use, and throw. As we say, fast fashion, fast food, we are moving towards fast living. We are moving towards instant gratification, wherein we are just thinking of the short term and not really thinking of what's there to come in future for us and the next generations. So this is basically the model of linear economy, where the business takes from the nature, they manufacture it into some material, the customer buys and uses that product, and that's then thrown and never looked back at again. But what we should move towards is the circular economy. That's the model of linear economy which we should not look to. We should move towards the circular economy, wherein once we extract from the raw material, that material keeps revolving in the cycle, and the waste is not generated. That is where we will be able to imagine a world where the waste is not the end, but the beginning of a new business venture or a new product. Every waste that we generate now can be innovated, can be upcycled, reused, or recycled in a new product. The businesses are all there working. There are brands who are using our plastic wrappers, our plastic poly bags, our foam sheets to make our handbags, laptop bags, and more of lifestyle goods. We are now seeing a lot of plastic being recycled to make furniture pieces. Your benches, chairs, chairs, benches, and a lot of these furnitures are prepared using recycled plastic. The problem here is the virgin plastic, which is the new plastic which is being prepared afresh, the new plastic, the fresh plastic. What we should be focusing towards should be the recycled plastic. How everything that we consume now, can it come from the recyclable industry? And yes, looking at the recycling is not very an optimistic side, because again, a lot of new resources are being consumed there to recycle a lot of goods. What we should essentially focus on is the 7R model, and before recycle comes your 7R. This is an addition to your 3 traditional R's that we have been studying since our childhood: reuse, reduce, and recycle. To these 3 R's, the 4 R's have been added, which leads us to lead a circular economy. Because we really need to break this down into the actionable items which one can follow in the daily lifestyle. That takes us to rethink. Like, always think about the norms which are existing. Can you challenge those norms? Can you question those norms and rethink of a more sustainable, innovative solutions? Refuse all the harmful plastic, chemical-filled products and which you don't need already. Reducing our consumption. Rot basically means to compost our wet waste to enrich our soil. Reusing and stuff over and over again till it's completely an end. Reuse has been there in our Indian roots since ages. Just look like how our clothes have been passed down from generation to generation. Our books have been passed down. We do reuse a cloth in so many ways after we stop wearing it at our households. That is something which we should really embrace. Repurpose, again, upcycling, repurposing, or repairing the items which go bad. Visit cobblers quite often. Visit electrician to get your electronics mended whenever they, just stop working. Always look for repairing before buying a new object, a new stuff, and then recycle right. That's very, very important. Don't give something for recycling which can still be reused. Give it to the person who would still reuse the same item. Because again, recycling industry uses a lot of water and energy. The problem again is these do look good. We can practice this. But the message that sustainability propagates now, first thing, it's boring. We always think of sustainability as expensive, something which will leave us to very bare minimum, something which will cut all the fun from our life. But I think we should propagate the idea of sustainability as something wherein we have abundant of clean and green energy for everyone. We have plenty of resources for future generations to come. We can imagine a world where we have clean air to breathe. That is what, and that is how we all should propagate the idea of sustainability. Just towards the end, as we move in future, we should highly think, does our past innovations have become a double-edged sword for us now? And those innovations are cutting into the fabric of our own planet. Being eco-friendly is not enough. We need to embrace the harmony, which, we need to embrace harmony, we need to embrace coexist model, and we should always think the one more P to all our innovations, which is the planet. Towards the end, again, few actions which we all can take individually. Because being a content creator, I get this question asked very often. Ki you alone, whenever they see me advocating or making a video about sustainability to not use plastic, a lot of those people come to me and ask, your individual actions are not going to make any difference. So why are you even taking those measures? So to them, I always say, don't underestimate the power of a small group that can bring about a change, because that's the only thing that ever has made a difference. So we should always believe in the power of one. And as a power of one, as all the hundreds of individuals we are sitting here, we can do few actionables in our daily life. We can say no to a plastic bag. It is estimated that an individual uses about 6 to 10 plastic bags in a week. If we all stop using plastic bag now, hundreds of us multiply that number by 100, and we will be able to save 600 to 1,000 plastic bags in a week. Multiply that number by 1,000, by 10,000 to a lakh people. And that is the power of one. We need to highly believe that one, we can bring some change. Try switching, try switching to always carrying a cloth tote bag. We were talking and we were discussing how we used to always have a jhola. Try to buy a cotton one and just fold it, always keep it in your handbag, and that will help you to avoid plastic bags. Try to always carry a set of reusable straws. It's not expensive. It will help you to avoid a lot of plastic straws. If you can't buy one, then try to just start drinking from the glasses. We don't need the straws. Always carry your own tumbler for your coffee mug and tea runs, because those paper cups, which are disguised as paper cups but are made up of plastic and releases a lot of microplastics while you have any hot beverage. Try to switch to a bamboo toothbrush, to a more plastic-less toothbrush, plastic-less, tree-less paper. There are multiple stuff within our personal care, our skin care. So, try switching to menstrual cups, towards more oils than lotions. Try to travel sustainably. Avoid the plastic mini bottles that we get at our hotels. And try to dress sustainably. Try to buy from brands who make sustainable clothes using the natural fabrics, and repeat your clothes proudly. That's me wearing the same sari in my first TEDx, and that's me today wearing the same sari, because repeating your clothes doesn't define you as a person. Rather, what it defines is that you care about the environment and you keep that in the first place. So repeat your clothes proudly. Be an advocate for change. Ask your schools, ask your organizations, ask your local grocery walas, your sabji walas to stop using plastic. Question them. Question them to switch to more eco-friendly products. Have conversations around sustainability to not use plastic at your homes, offices, because we are not talking about this topic enough. We are not educating people about this topic enough, and we need to start now. We need to believe in the power of one, that we all can bring a change. And whatever conscious efforts, whatever steps we take towards it, adds up to a bigger picture, and we can bring a change. Thank you.